and welcome to episode 12 of Shigutocast. Second take because we had some technical difficulties, but all good now. I'm your temporary co-host Tobe, joined by Salem, aka Mr. Wiggs. Another shalom to you. With us today, we have the founders of HD Admin, Oblivious Studios, the HD Community, Crawley's Own, Matt and Ben, aka Oblivious HD and Forever HD. How you guys doing?
Hello, thanks for having us.
I am doing fantastic.
How have you been doing this past half hour or so?
Well, you know, we've been making some great small talk and it's been going fantastic. So
Perfect.
I can't complain.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, we got some questions for you guys. Some questions of our own, and then we're gonna hop into some Reddit questions that you guys sent in. Next week we'll be having Arseny Kapulkin on the show. He's a technical fellow at Roblox who's been working on their in-house engine for over 8 years and worked on a long list of PlayStation games before that. So it's gonna be fun to sit down with him for a bit and get some insight into how all that stuff works. So if you guys want to drop a question, oh wait, I already messed that up once and now I'm messing it up again. You can't drop a question for him because we're putting this up on, we're interviewing him on Wednesday. So yeah, unfortunately, if you didn't get one in, you missed a chance, but his DMs are always open. He's a really nice guy. Definitely shoot him a message if your question isn't answered in that episode, but otherwise we're just gonna hop straight into it. Wanted to start off again with your guys' origins on Roblox and YouTube because, we know you found Roblox through Cool Math Games back in 2010, but it wasn't until a few years later you guys started the YouTube channel to try and drive more players to your games with your trailers. So, you know, how did your channel grow to the size it is now? Like, did you have one video that took off, or was it just something that slowly grew over time?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I'd have to say it was a collection of multiple viral videos, which have essentially founded my channel. I imagine it all started off with my Guess 66. I released that in 2017. That was my first ever Roblox movie. And within the first year, that got about 8 million views. And I think that's when my channel started to really grow. I went from about, like, after releasing Guess 66, I went from about like 50,000 subscribers to 300,000. But the thing which really made it for the YouTube channel was when I decided to drop out of sixth form at 16, which gave me a lot more free time. So it allowed me to spend time working on the 90-minute Roblox film, The Last Guest. And when I released it blew up. It was like #1 trending on YouTube, which was extremely ridiculous. And then I think it got like 2 million views within the first week, and then from there, that's basically what I've been doing ever since. I've just been working with a bunch of really talented animators and set builders, you know, people from Shigutocast on my most recent movie for Bacon Hair, to create these like 4 feature-length animated Roblox films.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of how our interview together came to be, right? Because we had a bunch of people from Shigutocast give their maps up for your most recent one.
Yeah, I couldn't even name because there were just so many people in the community. I know Infinite Effect, he built Neon District with a bunch of other people. So I think that's what really helped because he provided me with all the maps. And also there was that new map you guys were building, which was featured at the end of my movie. That looks incredible. Zaibatsu, is that how you say it?
Close enough.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, no, I was like, wow, this is incredible. Like, I hate to think how much time and effort actually went into creating that game. So I generally wouldn't have been able to make my movies without the maps that Shigutocast actually created.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I mean, it was like pretty surreal to see a lot of my friends work in your guys' movie because you know, especially like I have a younger brother who's like a huge fan of you guys, and yeah, I never told him, but I was watching him watch it once, and I was like looking at the maps. I'm like, should I tell him that I know all these people?
Yeah.
yeah, it's obviously, like you guys have been doing really well with it, and it's been you've had the YouTube channel for 6-7 years now, I guess.
Yeah, I've been doing
2013.
well. Yeah, 2013. That's how it ties in with Ben's stuff. So basically, that's how my YouTube channel started. Because we can thank Ben here. It's all thanks to him. Because we were working on our boat rides game. Back in the days, we used to just build these Roblox on personal servers. We used to build games together, and we wanted to promote our game Boat Ride, and that's why I decided to learn how to edit. And then after doing YouTube for a few years, that's when I also got into doing the basics of animation, and that's how those two, editing and animation, kind of came together to, which allowed me to create these Roblox movies.
Nice. Yeah, so when things did start taking off for you guys, towards the end of high school, and you realized this is something you could do full time, what was that conversation like for you guys at home with your parents? Because we did hear your dad might have thought something suspicious was going on.
Yeah, that was quite interesting actually, because I dropped out of sixth form 1 year before Ben did, and I think after Ben saw the potential that you could make with it, like doing Roblox stuff, Ben also then decided to drop out of sixth form. Would you like to talk about yours, Ben?
Yeah, I mean, it was quite funny at first because our dad, he insisted we both get like a full-time job, like a paper round. So we said to him, we don't really need to make that income. And he was like, okay, why is that? And we basically, Matt showed him his income online. And yeah, he initially assumed we were doing drugs. But yeah, for now, I think our parents have actually been very supportive over the whole sort of like ordeal. And dropping out of sixth form wasn't an immediate thing we decided. It took like many months.
It took me a year to convince him, which was probably the best decision of his life. Just say,
yeah,
because we did like, we went on these massively long bike rides and got lost and all that stuff, and this is how I finally managed to convince Ben. And also, let's be honest, we had like these massive exams coming up, and I had like 2 presentations I had to do, like when I got back to school. So I was like, I don't want to do these. So that's kind of also what convinced me to leave. It sounds very bad, but I'm very fortunate that I just didn't want to do that, so I decided to drop out, and obviously it worked out for the best.
Yeah, clearly. I mean, like, did your parents have something in mind for you guys that they wanted you to be in the future?
I think our parents wanted us to be accountants, or what was yours, Matt? It was similar to an accountant.
They had no hopes for me. No, I wasn't actually. I wasn't too bad of a student. I was average. I got like B's and A's, but I honestly had no idea what I was going to do when I left high school. So I'm very fortunate that essentially Roblox found me. Most people say this, but they have no idea what they were going to be, and I don't think even people after university have no idea what they want to do. So no, they had no expectations for us, which I think I'm grateful for.
So getting into your guys' videos, we saw that Mary Lou's book Legend was a huge inspiration for one of your more successful series, and as a fairly big reader of fiction, I was talking about this earlier, but it's always really cool to see someone pull direct inspiration from a book like that. Well, I mean, that's kind of what cyberpunk is, right? Like, it's all derived from literature. So I was wondering if that is something you guys are really into, and if there's any favorite books or series of yours.
Oh, well, we are massively book nerds. I remember back in school, I would, instead of doing lessons, I would just read a book and during our class, and I would get in trouble quite a lot of the times. But nowadays, and this is not a sponsor, I just want to emphasize that we use Audible. God, this sounds like a sponsor. But basically, when we're like cleaning up and just if we're just doing some trivial stuff, it just, we will always be just listening to fiction and non-fiction stuff. And most of the books, all of the books I've read were, especially, Mary Lou Legend. That's how I got the inspiration for the dystopian cyberpunk like city of, Bacon, for the Bacon Hair film. I'd say that was my biggest inspiration. But I would honestly reading, if you can enjoy getting into reading fiction or non-fiction, it will massively, massively help you, especially if you're doing a more creative job, such as, you know, what me or anybody else on the Redbooks platform is doing.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think that's how most of us ended up in Shiguto, was reading Neuromancer by William Gibson.
Which is his book?
Sorry?
You're gonna have to send me that at the end of the podcast, because
Oh yeah,
I'd like to check it out.
yeah. That's a very good briefer for cyberpunk. Well, I mean, it's widely recognized as like the Godfather book of cyberpunk. So
Is it on Audible? If it's on Audible,
between Neuromancer and was it the Altered Carbon series? It's also really good.
mm-hmm.
I think I've heard of Altered Carbon. Hey, you guys are gonna have to create like a channel on Shiguto Discord, like the book club channel, where we could just share books and stuff. Because I don't know, I think that would be pretty good, to be honest with you.
Oh no, I was gonna say that was a pretty good idea.
Yeah,
keep that in the back pocket.
We do have a writer's corner.
You have a writer's corner? What's this about?
It's essentially where people just can post their writing creations, whether it's poems, short stories, etc. Every now and then a good one will pop up.
Oh, that's nice. I like that.
Oh yeah, there's actually a lot of really talented people in there. But have you guys ever taken a shot at writing any fiction based on your work?
Well, that's an interesting one. I think, Matthew, you'll probably have to explain this one.
Well, so my father is he's actually been quite a big help for our projects, because my father loves to write books, and he actually, in his spare time, he's always just writing these novels and stuff. So I think he's actually right now he's working on like these mini short stories to extend work based off of my films. So for example, like for Bacon Hair and The Last Guest, he's doing like spin-off stuff. Because my father was he contributes a lot to the script writing. Basically, for the actual movies, it's me, Ben, and my father who work on these like scripts and whatnot. So kind of, yes, not myself personally. I haven't done it apart from my movies, but my father, yes. And you never know, maybe I'll follow in his footsteps one day.
So does he help out with your storyboards at all?
Yeah, so it's mainly I will lead the storyboards, and I will take charge on all the synopsises, and I will try get that to as thoroughly as possible, but then I will include Ben and my father, because then we go over the little details, because there's so many complicated stuff you have to like plot holes and stuff like that, which we need to fill in, which is where Ben and my father like help massively with that.
It's nice to keep it all in the family, I guess, right?
Yeah, you could say it's a very kind of family orientated. We do have other siblings. We tried to encourage them to get into Roblox, but they didn't. So, oh well.
Father HD. What does the HD stand for?
That's a good question. You know what? I have no idea. Basically, back you could have asked me what Oblivious stood for, and I could have given you that. So basically, Oblivious was, if you know what Alton Towers is, it's one of the biggest theme parks in England. My favorite ride there is called Oblivion. But so that's when I created a Roblox account, Oblivion HD. But then my brother took that name and he wanted the account. So then I created another account called Oblivious HD. And that's how I got the name HD, only because Oblivious was taken. So then Ben later went on to create his account, Forever HD.
Yeah, so we saw you guys made the move to South England last year, around London, right? It seems that so you guys were talking a bit about CK Studios, who were organizing events around that area, and I think you also made a stop at the Roblox headquarters at some point, right?
Ben, you can answer this.
So yeah, basically we it was about January 2020, and we saw in the dev forum that CK Studio were offering office spaces for developers like me and Matthew. And we're like, hey, we've been cramped up in Norfolk, rural Norfolk, all our life. This is going to be an amazing opportunity to like actually meet developers for like the second time, and to actually have a mildly social life. So yeah, we had a few sort of like conversations over the next few months, and it was about February, February 2020. We actually moved down to London. Finding a flat in itself was like a huge challenge. Sadly, though, it was really short-lived because 1 month later, as soon as it got to March, COVID obviously hit quite hard. Everywhere locked down. So yeah, we had the sort of 1 month London dream. And then it was.
We had aspirations at the start of the year, but then by the end of the year, all of those aspirations were gone, and we just concluded that we're going to be hermits for at least another year during quarantine.
Could you guys tell us a bit about RDC Plus, that event you organized?
Oh yeah, sure. So RD Plus. It was it 2019? Yeah. So in 2019, we went to RDC, which was in California, and we thought, hey, we've spent like it was almost up to $2,000 on flight tickets because it was very much last minute. So we thought, hey, if we're spending this much on tickets, we're gonna make the most out of the final weeks in America. So we decided to put together RDC Plus, which is like it's a group of things we do after RDC. And one of these trips was a theme park visit to California, Great America. And I think for that we must have had about 24 people. But because we booked it in a group, we managed to get some really awesome discounts on the tickets. And surprisingly, even though we'd never been to a theme park in America before, it turned out really well.
Yeah, and if you didn't know, me and Ben, we're event organizers for Roblox. So what we plan to do is to host more obviously after coronavirus, all that fiasco has gone away. We plan to host in real life meetups for Roblox like creators and developers and anyone on the Roblox platform. Oh, you have to be over 16. But because we know like the importance of just like socializing and connecting with other people, first of all for your mental health. Because just meeting these other Roblox developers is great and getting out there, getting outside, instead of being a hermit. But it's also these events and meeting other Roblox developers and having the opportunity to do that. It allows you to connect and work on projects. A lot of the people from my Bacon Hair movie I met at San Francisco, and I wouldn't have been able to create some of the certain scenes or do some of the maps or animations. Because I would have never met these people in real life. So there's a lot of benefits to meeting with other people, I would say.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's kind of cool that I've noticed Europe's been more or less snubbed with the RDCs, the official ones, but you guys just went ahead and made your own events. It's a good way to deal with it, I guess. So we know you guys as you were saying earlier, seem to push each other a lot, like you're a little competitive. We actually saw you competed in a 800-meter race a few years back and took first and second place. I'm not going to say which was which because I want to keep things civil, but do you guys see yourselves as a little bit competitive with each other?
Well, but yeah, back in the days, we did a lot of long distance running. We competed in he did the 800 meters, and I was better at the 1500 meter races. But we also did 3000 meter races, and we were super competitive about that because, not to brag, but at the end of the year, I managed to get. I was 31st in the UK for the 3000 meter race. My brother was 33rd. So I'm going to take that as a big win, and he's never going to be able to take that off me.
Wait, Matthew, excuse me, but who holds the 5K record and the 800 record?
Okay, yeah, but I'm going to take that 5K record next year.
No, I'm sorry, that's never going to happen. You're currently a cripple, and it's looking in my favor.
Yeah, I have a broken arm, but I can still run. I can still train. So we are very competitive, obviously, and I think we're very fortunate because that competitiveness. Then we transferred that from running to Roblox, and we now compete stuff like who's more successful. And most people think I'm more successful, but it's actually it's not the case. My brother, sometimes he's some months he's making more revenue, some months I'm making more revenue. So it's extremely competitive and close. And I think that does help to just keep us going and to keep doing the work we're doing.
Oh, so do you guys not split a percentage of the games and the YouTube? You just do one gets everything from the games, one gets everything from YouTube?
No, we do. Ben gets 75% of all the games revenues, and I have 25%, and the YouTube revenue is all mine.
Oh.
So the 100% is mine. But surprisingly, that 75% from the games is a massive earner. Roblox, the Roblox developers, if you make it good on Roblox, you can make a lot of money.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Outside of Roblox, maybe with the exception of Matt taking computer science on his GCSEs, I don't believe you guys have any formal education in your fields, right? Like you're self-employed, I guess self-made, you could say. So, like I could totally see you guys, keeping each other in check when it comes to your work and staying disciplined by being really competitive with each other. So, but speaking of being self-employed, especially during these times, we saw that your viewership has gone up 30 to 40% during COVID, you figure. So like how have you guys been trying to make the most of this time hunkered down?
Ben, would you like to talk about that?
Oh, I thought it was about the YouTube, Matthew.
Oh, okay, my YouTube.
from the game perspective, I think since the start of about March, I'm sure Steadion could quote me here with his R-Track stats, but Roblox has seen like an enormous increase in player base. It's like I don't know, near to like over 100%. It's a ridiculous number. So yeah, obviously, surprisingly, without even working on games or even updating them, we've found like a significant increase in revenue streams from these purely because Roblox itself is essentially growing massively, and we're just sort of surfing the wave.
Yeah, it's all right for him. But Ben actually he's benefited very well from this. My YouTube side is a little bit different actually. So I've my video views actually doubled after coronavirus and quarantine, but my revenue split in half. So because obviously all the advertisers pulled out because in quarantine you can't really advertise too much. There's not as much advertisements and sponsors. So my views doubled, but my revenue kind of halved. So it's basically about the same. Whereas the Roblox side of things has massively increased. So the game revenue and everything, that's gone up by massive amounts.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, like how have you seen like with revenue on YouTube, is it something that's just like what's the trend? Is it kind of unpredictable at times?
It is quite interesting. It's extremely unpredictable. Like I think, for example, in December, in December I might like make 5-6 times as much as I would make in January, because of the YouTube advertisements. So this is why I literally had so many sleepless nights working on my Bacon Hair film to get it released for December. Because literally, if you don't get it released for December, you're going to lose out on about 80% of your revenue because the Christmas and the sponsors are way higher. So my revenue fluctuates quite massively.
That's like the one line of work I would have thought to not be seasonal, but I guess it is.
It's extremely seasonal. So you could say it fluctuates a lot, but it is constant. So for example, December is always the highest month for revenue. By revenue, I mean, let's say in December you might get $4, $5 per 1,000 views, whereas for example in January you might get 50p or 50 cents per 1,000 views, or even like 30 cents. That's how drastically different it is.
I guess I'll have to keep that in mind if I ever start a YouTube channel, or if we start taking the Shiguto one seriously. So Matt, obviously being self-taught in animation, which I would assume was a lot harder to do when you first started out. How have you seen the tools available for that change over the years? And, what do you think would be a good starting point now for someone who wants to get into animation?
Yeah, first of all, that's a very good question. And the tools over the last few years have massively gotten so much better. Basically, I started out using the Roblox animation editor, but that is extremely difficult to use, and it's definitely not worth your time in the long run. What I use, and I only started using Moon Animation Editor for my new movies, so the Bacon Hair. It didn't actually come out during the Last Guest, so you'll notice if you look at the animation from the Last Guest compared to the Bacon Hair, it's a lot less choppy. So I would definitely recommend to anybody starting out to download it's called the Roblox Moon animation plugin. And it doesn't matter, like I personally don't consider myself a skilled animator. I do have work with a team of extremely skilled. So for example, loads of these combat animations in the movie were animated by some really talented people, such as like Nymphy, and a few other like really talented animators. And they all use Moon animation to begin with. But if you want to get a little bit more professional, what we do nowadays, we've actually moved away from using Moon to do the animating. We use Blender. So most of the hard combat animation scenes, they're created in Blender. We set up all the scenes in the Blender, and we create the like basic plan, and then they're animated there. And then we export that all to Roblox, and we import it into the Roblox Moon animation editor. And then I record all of the stuff, and I do all the camera work. That's all done in Roblox Studio using the Moon Animation Editor. Because you can also, Moon Animation Editor has, they have cameras as well, so you can record it, mess around with it, play with it. And there is definitely a lot of great YouTube tutorials out there for anyone of any ability. Because I'm not a professional animator. I also have to do editing, story writing, and like music licensing and all that stuff as well. So anybody could essentially do what I do without having to need too much practice. It's just knowing how to use the right tools.
So you mentioned music licensing. How do you go about getting your music license for your videos?
Well, for the Bacon Hair film, I licensed my music from Really Slow Motion, and the other music licensee was Succession Studios. And you just have to contact them and negotiate a price, because I was like, for example, you can offer them promotion and advertisements in return for lowering the cost down quite significantly. But for the price range, per like entire movie, so for a 90-minute movie, or like, for The Last Guest, I believe licenses cost me about £1,000 in total, so that's about $1,500. And it's the same for the Bacon Hair. My music licenses costed about $1,500 in total. It's quite a lot, but I will say, you don't have to do that if you're a small YouTuber. For Guest 666, everything I used was absolutely free. And for YouTube, if you search YouTube, I believe it's the YouTube Music Library, they have loads of fantastic no copyright songs you can use in your projects and movies, and they are completely free. Like my budget was $0, and only after I started producing more revenue, I then obviously used better songs. But so I would say YouTube Music Library for if you're starting out. There's this platform called Epidemic Sounds. And Epidemic Sounds, basically, you can pay a subscription, and I believe it's like $10 or $5 $10 a month, and it includes sound effects, music, original music, and I know loads of massive YouTubers who use this. So I would personally recommend that as the most feasible way of, if you want to do movies, to use Epidemic Sounds.
Yeah, we do have quite a few people in Shiguto who are doing YouTube stuff now, so they might actually appreciate that. So I don't know if this is something Ben has gotten into at all, but Matt, we saw that you've been bungee jumping quite a few times now, which is a pretty unique thing to have sought out. So what was it that attracted you to that?
It was Ben, because we bungee jumped together. So I'll actually give this one to Ben. Actually,
we were on a bike ride, and it must have been about a month before our birthday. I was like, "Hey Matthew, we could at least do something cool for our 18th birthday." So I proposed bungee jumping because I watched a few videos on YouTube, and Matthew was quite reluctant at first. It took a good few days of like full-on convincing, but eventually we both said yes. And then yeah, a month later for our 18th birthday, we went down to London in Bray Windsor, where they have I think it's a 300-foot bungee jump. And yeah, I think both of us were absolutely quaking on the way down. We were terrified.
Freaking I generally, as people, I mean, we've also done skydiving, and I can confirm bungee jumping is a million times more scary than skydiving from my personal experience. Standing on top of that platform is probably one of the most scariest things you'll do. So that's why I say go do it.
Because you know, Matthew, it's scary, but we got addicted afterwards. So we also tried a 400-foot one, which I think it's the tallest one in the UK.
It's the biggest in the UK, yeah.
Yeah, so it becomes quite addictive. It's terrifying, and you regret doing it when you show up for the day. But as soon as you've done it, it's the best thing in the world.
I can also agree with that statement.
I definitely didn't think that bungee jumping would be scarier to someone than skydiving. It's interesting.
Well, I think it's because with bungee jumping, you have to actually jump off the platform yourself. You literally, you're standing on that platform and you have to make the decision to jump. Whereas with skydiving, you're in this plane and if you're doing a tandem, you're strapped with somebody. So you literally, it feels nice. It feels like you're just floating in like the sky, and it's really relaxing. There's not much of that adrenaline rush, which you do definitely get if you do bungee jumping.
Yeah, it's definitely more personal experience.
Yeah,
I guess I'll have to start with skydiving.
Seriously, yeah.
Yeah, I like the idea of starting with skydiving and building up the bungee jumping.
Yeah, might as well just go all out. Just do the highest bungee jump first and get it over with, because then everything else, absolutely anything you do, will seem really, really nice and easy.
Mm-hmm. Well, our old co-host used to jump out of planes for a living. It's pretty interesting.
For a living?
Yeah, he was doing something in the army.
Yeah, he was in Army Airborne.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh, is he? But it's paratroopers. Was he one of them?
I think so. Well, we knew he was in the army, and we knew he jumped out of planes, but we don't know what he's jumping at.
Okay, I have to say that actually looks terrifying. I've seen videos of those paratroopers. That's where you're all by yourself though, and you could like break your leg or something if you have a really bad landing. If you don't do it just right, there's stories of like every single time these paratroopers jump out these planes, at least one person like breaks their leg or at least really badly sprains it. These first-time trainees. So no, honestly, that's terrifying. Because you're not with someone.
There's a reason why they're like a few inches shorter after a couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, all respect to those people. I don't even know if I could do that myself, because that is truly terrifying. Like, your life is in your hands. I don't know if I trust myself not to kill myself by accident.
Yeah, well, I think he usually jumps into the water. So, if your parachute doesn't work, just point your toes. You'll be fine.
Oh yes.
So Ben, we know you're a pretty big pineapple fanatic, as it would turn out. Yeah, we kind of have a ongoing debate in Shiguto. It's been a pretty polarizing issue. So I was thinking, because we asked our last guest, we might start making a counter so we can finally put this to rest. Pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
Okay, so this is one I get asked quite a lot, and it's a definite no. So I have a question for you. Would you stick? This is going to sound so weird. Okay, I'm not like an animal. I'm not like a sociopath or whatever. Okay, let's say you're a dog fan and you love your dogs dearly. So for me, I love my pineapples dearly. You wouldn't go and stick your pet dog in the oven, would you? Because you're destroying something beautiful. So similarly, why would you stick your pineapple in the oven and then cut it up and put it on top of something else? Pineapple is something which must be appreciated as a whole, as a fresh
product. It is fresh pineapple.
As it is, exactly, yeah.
It's the only way it can be, only fresh. Otherwise, it's not pineapple.
Now, let me ask you this. Fresh pineapple on a pizza.
That's
like not.
I would honestly, I would be happy with that. if it's completely fresh pineapple,
Yeah.
that's cool with me. But if you cook it, if you destroy it, that's an evil sin, and you're probably going to hell.
I mean,
Well,
there are different ways. There are different ways to prepare a pineapple, like say in a pastry or a cake, a pineapple
Sure.
upside down cake.
But equally, you could also enjoy cooked apple or cooked strawberries. It's
You could.
pineapple must be left alone.
I don't know. As much as I enjoy pineapple, I don't think I'm as much of a purist.
It's yeah.
It just sounds like
I've
a
never-
religion. Jesus, what are you guys going? It's like, oh, I'm a purist pineapple believer, and you're like, no, I'm more relaxed. I'm more liberal.
I
pineapple.
like that term. I'm going to use purist in the future.
It's just like some sort of weird cult. Dig, I
Yeah.
would be surprised if this is actually in the main podcast itself.
Cheers, Mr. Wiggs.
My
Yeah.
gosh, no, I love it.
How do you guys cut your pineapple? Because there's a few different ways to do it, right?
You know, I'm going to give this one to Ben again. He's an expert.
I don't mind whatever way, as long as you get to essentially enjoy its beauty without being burnt to a crisp.
Oh, actually, you know, no, a good life tip, by the way. It sounds weird, but if you smash your pineapple on a wall or something, like you just hit it really hard, it then allows you to break the chunks out. So you know, like pineapple chunks, instead of having to cut it up, you just like whack it a good, and then you can pull out the segments because pineapple's made up of like loads of little different segments, and you can just pull them out as if they're like pineapple chunks. So just some life advice.
Now, does that separate it from the core, or are you still eating the core also?
Well, I don't. It kind of depends how well you smash it, really. But then you just like, I think it's separated. There is definitely a way to do it. There's a YouTube video how to quickly smash up a pineapple and eat it. Just search that; it'll probably come up.
I'll keep that in mind.
Okay.
So I guess I have to ask as a follow-up question: how do you guys feel about pineapple juice?
Oh, I like it
to
to be honest.
fresh.
It has to be fresh, but you hardly heat up pineapple juice. So yes, but Ben approves of pineapple juice.
It's Oh, I don't want to be controversial. I prefer apple juice. I'm sorry.
Oh, Matthew.
Now,
Yeah,
from
I-
concentrate or from not?
No, non-concentrate. I'm not. God, no.
Okay.
But no, I just pineapple juice is all right, but it just doesn't do it for me. Please don't hate me for that, okay? Don't send me death threats. I'm just more of an apple person.
Here, I thought we were gonna have to end this podcast a little early.
Oh God, oh no. I will. I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry.
It's okay. You know what? Sometimes we're wrong and we just have to move on.
Yeah.
So just to kind of finish off a little bit, you guys have expressed the importance of your community to you quite a few times, and just from joining your Discord a while back, it was like pretty much immediately apparent that everyone is super involved and like really interested in what you guys are putting out. So like, is there any cool things that you guys have seen come out of your community in the last few years, like any fan art or Halloween costumes, what have you?
Oh yeah,
The fan art from the
Wow,
community has been absolutely amazing. Yeah.
it's so ridiculous. I mean, I think this. I believe her name is Nina, but she every year for Halloween she will create her own. She'll create her own Halloween costumes based off of my Roblox movies, which they're so cool. Like one of the years she created her own Last Guest costume, like from scratch, and the details were incredible. Like the Roblox decals and everything matched it perfectly. And she dressed up as this for Halloween, and it just seems to be a yearly thing she does. But the amount of effort these people go to create some of these really awesome things. And one of my fans, they created some plushies, as in like their own handmade plushies, based off some characters from The Last Guest and the Bacon Hair. And they must have spent like days and days working on that, and it really truly is it's incredible. And this is not even talking about all the fan art, and there's so many like really talented artists in the community, which is very, very like overwhelming.
Yeah, it's a very wholesome experience to finish work and just be able to see all of these amazing artwork our team and community members have created.
Oh, and also there's people like, I think I talked about it on the other one, but like people like Bethany Animates, she creates like these funny animation skits based off the Bacon Hair movie and The Last Guest, and her most recent one, the Bacon Hair animation, was just so well made, like, and it was really, really funny. So it's really, really cool what a lot of these community members are doing.
Yeah, I think you have a ongoing fan art contest in your Discord, right?
Well, it's more so, it's basically what I do is anyone who creates fan art for my anything related to my YouTube channel, you can post it in the fan art section on our Discord server, and as long as it's to a certain quality, and pretty much every single one is, you'll be featured at the end of my movies. So when I release the Bacon Hair 4, I'm going to be doing a compilation at the end of the credits of every single person who's submitted fan art. So I'm going to feature all their work at the end of the movie, just as like, just a thanks. And I do, I also, the top 10 or 20, I think it's 20. I changed it to 20, win like 1,000 Robux each. So more incentive to just go out there and just create some stuff, because I love seeing them all. They're really cool. I sometimes get pictures. People will send me like, just some random stranger sent me a picture of I sell plushie toys. And they just sent me one of my guest plushie toys, and it was just decapitated. It was a video of them decapitating one of my plushie toys. No context, no nothing.
Par for the course.
Sounds like a threat.
Yeah, exactly. So, it spices up my day. Stuff like that, please do more of it. Feel free to just email me weird random videos like that, because I quite like it, actually.
Yeah, so we're just going to quickly jump into some Reddit questions we got. If you guys want to leave questions for the next episode. Oh, God. Keep forgetting.
Third time's the charm.
Yeah, so we're just going to jump into some Reddit questions real quick. We actually ended up with quite a few, so I'm just going to go through a few of these. We had Yokaista, who was wondering, what do you think the future holds for the Oblivious HD YouTube channel?
Yeah, that's actually very interesting, and we have some big things planned. What not many people notice, but over the last couple of months, I've been setting up my own studio on Discord, which is it's an invite thing for some of the best Roblox animators. And what we're doing, because obviously I used to animate a lot of my movies myself, but I'm going to be getting a lot more of these people involved, especially since I broke my arm, like I told you this like a few weeks ago, and I wasn't able to actually work. So these animators have been massively useful for helping me produce the Bacon Hair Part 4. But what I'm going to be doing is producing a lot more high quality Roblox stuff, because at the moment, all these like Roblox music videos and even my movies, they have a potential to be so much better if I have animators working on the animation, and then it's me working on all the other stuff, like the story, so we can make it as good as possible. So the production time for a lot of these projects in the future, once I've got that set up, should hopefully be a lot more quickly, instead of releasing just one thing per year. And I also plan to do a lot more. I might be branching out into doing like Roblox skits, like those meme things, but animated, because no one's done that yet. And also doing releasing more animated Roblox music videos, because they seem to be quite popular now, but having more of a unique story, because a lot of the Roblox music videos back in the days were like Roblox bully stories, and they're really unoriginal plots. And I did a lot of them myself, and I would personally love to make the whole Roblox YouTube animation thing much more professional. So to move away from like Roblox bully stories and stuff like that, and to actually producing much more higher quality Roblox music videos, which like have maybe a slightly more interesting but original story to them, if that makes sense. And that's where all my animators, that's where they'll help me with that, to produce them much more quickly.
Yeah, well, good luck. KZ
I appreciate
asks, that. Of course, KZ asks, Matt, who's your favorite character from the movies?
Guesty the robot dude. I'd say he's my favorite, because he's pretty relatable. He's like this socially awkward robot who kind of just trying to stumble around, trying to find his way through life. And I don't know, he's a very quirky, funny character, and he doesn't say much, but he's a man of like few words, and I quite like that. So it has to be guesty. But I also do love he's called the President, and he just has his voice. If you ever watch my movie and listen to the President's voice, you could do like an ASMR. I might just get him like do Roblox ASMR with the President's voice, because it's so incredible. So that's also why he is kind of also my second favorite character.
Top Hat Jack Official is wondering when the trailer will release for Chapter 4.
So the trailer for the Baconhead Chapter 4, I'm not going to give any dates on that, because it's been slightly delayed because of the arm, and of having to try and figure out to do stuff, and because I'm like one-handed, so it's been a bit tough, and it's been a bit of a challenge. And these movies, for example, for each episode, it's taken me about one third of a year each to produce one episode. So it does take a very long time. And so I'm not going to give you a release date for that. But this new episode is the hardest one, because it's the final one. We have like this massive, massive fight planned out. And that requires so much time and effort and a lot of money to produce it. So just bear with, but I will post updates. If you follow me on Twitter, I will announce the trailer on there first. So if you want to be the first to see any new updates or spoilers, you can go follow me on Twitter if you like.
Yeah, of course. Paid Sucks is asking, what tips would you give to developers who are starting out on the platform?
Oh, I can answer this one. Obviously back in my time, we had very limited resources. But nowadays, 2021, there are it depends what you want to do. But if you want to be a programmer, for example, I would highly recommend, whenever you have time, in a holiday, at the weekend, just spend a day, just find a small project and just work on it as best as you can, and use tutorials and guides, and the Roblox Dev Hub to help you where possible. And if you're able to sit down for like a solid, I don't know, 8 hours at the weekend, it's very much something you likely can get more invested into going forwards.
Gotcha. Last one. 6-foot auxiliary cable asks, why do things be the way that they do?
Well, it is why? Because 42, okay? 42 is the answer to the life, universe, everything. 42.
42.
Yeah, actually, a very cyberpunk question to ask. Kind of bringing it full circle.
People don't think science would be like it is, but it do.
Mr. Wiggs. That's it. We're out of questions. Thank you guys for coming on. That was fun.
Well, yeah. I appreciate being part of this, and I appreciate everything the Shiguto community has managed to do for my videos, and everything you do to the community is just really awesome. So I appreciate that a lot as well.
Oh, cheers.
It's been a pleasure. It's been great to finally chat to the team behind Shiguto in Neon City. Very small part.
Yeah, no, Ben's uneducated and all that stuff. Neon City is like one small map. There's loads more than just Neon City, Ben. I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can say anything.
You have to show me afterwards, Matthew.
Yeah, I will show you.
But yeah, the feeling's mutual, I think, for us. So thank you again for coming on, and thank you guys for listening to episode 12 of Shigutocast. Peace.